Galactic Civilizations IV has come a long way since it first released way back in 2022, with several major expansions starting with Supernova, many free updates adding new gameplay features and constant balance and polish too. And now, we've reached a significant milestone in Galciv's ongoing development. Welcome to version 3.0 Hyperlane update. This is a substantial update that improves gameplay in a significant way at a fundamental level. In this video, we'll take a look at the new features added in Hyperlane and what they add to the gameplay of Galciv 4. Every 4X needs a map, and every game of Galactic Civilizations starts with map generation, allowing the player to carefully tailor the kind of game they want to play. We've improved the map generator in Galciv 4 with a more realistic and satisfying layout of stars across each sector. Previously, stars were pretty evenly distributed across the map without much variation. Now, whether you're playing on just one large sector or many, stars and their planets will be distributed in a more realistic pattern of clusters. This effect can be changed using its own slider in the map setup phase for those who want more or less of it, and it can be completely deactivated to return the game to the previous uniform distribution of stars if you so wish. This is more than a mere aesthetic change, as it will transform how civilizations approach colonization, which in turn affects the formation and maintenance of borders too. This has a huge cascading effect on gameplay, with civilizations thrown into diplomatic incidents or conflict as they jostle for dominance over the best planets in a cluster of stars. Single-player 4X games thrive on asymmetric scenarios, and our new map generator is perfect for crafting endless permutations of the classic Galciv experience. Well-seasoned players may enjoy the challenge of starting in a smaller but more easily defended cluster of stars away from others, with careful planning required to make a beachhead into one of the larger clusters owned by other, potentially larger civilizations. For those who prefer to restrict their map to a single sector, this can help simulate some of the asymmetric civilization growth curves you'd get with a multi-sector game. And for those of you who enjoy playing with more than one, you'll see more dynamic positioning between civilizations as they explore, expand, exploit and exterminate in their own sectors. One natural effect of grouping stars together in this way is that sectors will now contain more space free of stars to travel through. With our new map generator creating a more dynamic and strategically rich map, we've included a new feature to allow players to more rapidly transit between various star clusters. Star hyperlanes are created at map generation and cannot be built by players, but once they are detected through research, they link distant parts of each sector to one another. Travel across star hyperlanes is many times faster than traversing space without one, and any star terminating a star hyperlane will immediately become a strategic and tactical focal point in your games. Civilizations can send probes to more rapidly explore the furthest and deepest regions of a sector, and non-combat ships can get to colonies and resources much faster too. But star hyperlanes don't just connect stars, they connect civilizations too. Control over the exit points of the star hyperlane will be hotly contested, and if there's a star hyperlane starting in Drengen-controlled territory and ending somewhere in your own backyard, there could be trouble ahead. Let's hope you're not playing one of the tastier civilizations in the game. Just like with the new clustered star layout option, star hyperlanes can be increased, reduced, or removed entirely according to your taste. All gameplay in 4X games cascades downwards from the map and game setup options, and opening up even more nuance and detail in map generation will help weave a rich and varied tapestry of Galactic Civilizations 4 experiences. Galactic Civilizations features epic fleet combat with large fleets of high-tech ships duking it out for space supremacy. However, we noticed that wars were often won on the strategic level by a player simply outbuilding and throwing huge numbers of ships at their opponents, winning by swarming the enemy with endless fleets. This problem compounded on smaller maps particularly, and also served to discourage players from engaging with the detailed combat simulation mechanics of ship design and weapon loadouts, fleet composition and doctrine, technology choices, and more. We want to refocus things a little to prioritise quality over quantity, while still allowing players to field epic numbers of warships in their games. To facilitate this, we've added a new fleet supply system to Galciv 4, which tracks your maximum logistics for fleets. While logistics limits the number and size of the ships you can field in your individual fleets, fleet supply limits the overall number of military ships you can own in your civilization as a whole. The fleet supply cap scales up with map size as you'd expect, and you'll still be able to field significant numbers of ships all in all. A ship's logistics value is added to the supply when it's constructed, and once you hit your supply cap, you can't build any more ships. The aim is to reduce the reliance on players winning wars purely on the strategic level by just building far more ships than your opponent can hope to match, with the added effect of helping late game performance on less powerful computers too. We've added new planetary improvements and technologies to the tech tree to improve fleet supply as you progress through the game should you need it. The fleet supply cap should ensure that wars aren't quite so focused on just outpacing your opponents on an industrial level, encouraging players to engage with Galciv's detailed ship designer and combat system, and this should make some of the more war-focused core civilizations, like the Korath clan, a bit more competitive too. We cannot understate how much this changes fleet combat gameplay for the better. Wars must now be waged more carefully, as you'll not have infinite ships to attack and defend everywhere at once. This should dramatically increase the strategic and tactical nuance of Galciv's hex-based warfare system. Space 4X games traditionally suffer a problem with some players feeling compelled to micromanage their economy, making small adjustments to many different parameters on a turn-by-turn basis to squeeze out tiny performance gains. Galciv 4 addressed this by allowing the player to set civilization policies and add leaders to factions, to make longer-term adjustments to economic output rather than the traditional set of economy sliders which tended to encourage micromanagement. However, sometimes a player needs a quick boost to get out of a sticky situation, and adjusting tax rates, civilization policies and faction placements to help out for just a few turns and then resetting it all afterwards can be laborious too. Civilization Focus is a new mechanic to gain a 25% bonus to resource generation turn by turn, allocated towards population growth, credit generation, research, military production or planetary manufacturing. Now, if you've got a gap to plug, you can simply change your civilization focus to address that with a single button push. This is a broad enough bonus to discourage turn-by-turn fiddling for those who don't enjoy that, while still allowing it with a single button push for those that do. We've made some significant changes to the quality of the shaders and anti-aliasing in Galciv 4, and you'll see a remarkable improvement in the in-game graphics. Everything is better lit and smoother as a result of these tweaks. We've gone to great efforts to ensure that those ships you've painstakingly designed look amazing. We've made some important changes to the game UI to better organise the data at your disposal. Firstly, the lesser used trade resources are now encapsulated together in their own tooltip, which helps keep the resource indicator on the top UI bar more cleanly organised. Sometimes you've got too many ships, or one has outlived its usefulness. Each ship now has its own decommission button, so they're a lot easier to scrap. The War Aims user interface has been redesigned to better show the progress of a war you're engaged in. You can see which war aims you have achieved and a progress bar showing who is winning the war, with timers to show how long you've been at war and how long remains before your civilization will start to experience the war-ending events chain system. On the topic of war aims, we've also made some changes to the frequency with which wars of annihilation are declared by AI players, making them a little less frequent for those of you who don't enjoy being at war for long periods of time. Next, we've redesigned the civilization tab in the databank to show civilization-wide bonuses, such as the new fleet supply cap, your maximum enacted policies, influence growth of colonies, fleet combat modifiers and much more, all organised by category. Now, you've got all the information you need to support critical decision making in just one place. We've also added a new customizable graphs screen to closely compare various metrics between your civilization and one of your rivals in any number of fields. If you need to know how your economic power and treasury compares to the mighty corporate sector, or how your food, population and approval stands up against the Baratak Grove, now you can. The timeline still exists too for comparing the performance of multiple civilizations. Finally, we've added a handy workshop button to the main menu to take you over to Stardock's modding site, where you can browse and add community-made mods for Galactic Civilizations IV. This is by far the most significant free update we've made to Galactic Civilizations IV Supernova, with the map generation system and fleet supply mechanic adding more detail and nuance to the huge sandbox at your disposal. At Stardock, we're committed to improving our games and ensure they provide countless hours of fun, and we hope you enjoy this update. Cheers!